This is a picture of Mike Babcock from his last go around in the National Hockey League in 2019. Yes, that's 4 years ago with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it is not a pretty sight. Does that look like something you'd want to wake up and go to the rink and go, oh yeah, I want to go work with this guy every day? So here's my problem. The coaching carousel, he got off the coaching carousel, right?
Yep.
He's off. We're done. We're done talking about Mike Babcock. We've talked about, with him, there's been accusations of bullying to his players. We talked about the Mitch Marner instance, the Franzen incident in Detroit. How in the hell is this even a possibility of, let's try this again? Like, Mike Babcock has won a Stanley Cup. He's won gold medals. He has won. There is no argument there. He's one of the most successful coaches in the history of the National Hockey League, and I cannot argue against that. It is 100% true. He goes to Toronto with unlimited resources, has every player that he wants. He put his own staff in place. He did everything possible in Toronto. How'd they do?
Not good.
Not good. So not only did they not do good, players hated playing for him. And you go back, and I know players that played for him recently that are still in the league will not say something bad about a coach that's still in the league. I get that. But you need to find retired players or retired staff members and say, how was it working for Mike Babcock? Everything I said about Andre Tourigny and building relationships and building trust is not what you hear when you talk about Mike Babcock. You hear about ego. You talk about a difficult guy, manipulator, all of those things behind the scenes that make it really tough to succeed. And I'm going to talk about a couple of players that you have in Columbus. You got Patrick Laine and you've got Johnny Hockey. Johnny Hockey just left a Calgary Flames team that had Daryl Sutter as the coach that was known for similar aggressive, old school coach.
Yeah.
And who they've just removed, by the way. So they don't have any of these old school guys in the league anymore. John Tortorella goes into Philly, and he's maybe a little old school too. They have a big blip in Philly at the beginning of the year. Oh, look, the Tortorella experiment's working. It's great. Guess what? They sucked at the end of the year too. And do I think they're going to make the playoffs next year? No. I love John Tortorella. But the thought of being this kind of a coach, I just think that time has passed. And Mike Babcock has a history of being that type of coach where he is divisive, where he's difficult. And I think it's going to be difficult for players like Johnny Hockey and Patrick Laine, who have both been in situations where they were unhappy, to perform at their best here. I wonder if their agents right now are calling up the management team there going, what in the hell are you doing? And they just went from a guy in Larson that was very well liked. He was an assistant coach there for a very long time to a guy that is publicly known to be difficult to play for. I don't understand how the Columbus Blue Jackets think this is a great idea. And here's my prediction. First of all, he's going to demand a ton of money. He's literally still getting paid by Toronto. They're paying him more than $5 million a year to not coach.
Can you imagine just getting paid $5 million a year to not work?
To not work. And that contract expires at the end of June. So if you remember how long Sheldon Keefe has been there, they've also been paying Mike Babcock to not coach. So that shows you how well he's liked in Toronto. If you're going to pay a guy over $5 million to not coach, you don't think very highly of this guy. I think what's going to happen in Columbus, I think it's going to be similar to what you saw in Philadelphia with Tortorella. I think there will be a short blip. I think they will have limited success in their first 20 games. I think you will see them get some wins. I think you will see them saying the right things in the media. Oh, he's great. He's bringing us some structure. He's bringing us some this and that. When the end of the season comes, they will be nowhere near the playoffs, and players are going to be going, I want out.
Is there a chance, because they didn't hire him and now there's all this backlash, it's they intend to hire him. Is there a chance that the outrage and possibly agents picking up the phone can prevent this from happening?
I would be surprised if it's
too far
late.
Gone?
I would be surprised if it's not too late, because if it's out publicly in the media right now, there may well have been some kind of agreements drawn up at this point. I'd be surprised if they can get out of it. Here's what Mike Babcock's saying too. He's going into these meetings going, hey, I've learned, I've changed, I'm going to be different with the players. I understand I spent the last season coaching college kids. I've readjusted and I've recommitted myself, and I will be different. It's hard to do that. It's hard to change what your core beliefs are and what you've done as a coach for your entire career. I would be surprised if he can change. And I'm absolutely stunned that his name is coming up. When I saw it coming up with the Rangers earlier this year, I'm like, what? How is that going to work out with their large voice of veteran players going, that's not going to work well. I just think the game of hockey has changed so much. And listen, I know people can criticize me for what I'm saying, and I don't know anything. I tell you what I do know. I've been inside NHL coaches' rooms. I'm not a member of the media. I'm not a member of the press. I can tell you when players have feelings about a coach, whether it's an assistant coach or a head coach, because I have been there and I have seen it. And it changes the way guys play, the way they are committed to on and off ice activities, and the way they participate as a group. And you can get a short little blip of guys, us against him. We're going to band up and we're going to do it in spite of that coach, not because of him. So you can get that little blip. I just don't think this is a long-term solution for a team that's trying to move forward with young players and trying to develop a culture. I am just stunned that we're talking about Mike Babcock again. So send all the hate to S. Peters Hockey on Twitter, because if you believe that I'm wrong, I guess we'll see. Only time will tell, because I don't think that kind of coach can succeed in the National Hockey League anymore. And you can go right to the Stanley Cup Finals right now. And when you talk about Maurice and Cassidy and what they've been able to do with their teams and the way they motivate and bring teams together and do it as a group, I don't think that's what's happening in Columbus. And I'll say it lastly, what's happened here in Arizona with Andre Tournier getting a chance to coach out of juniors, win a gold medal at the World Championships. He has his players putting everything on the line every single day when they're outmanned, outmatched, outskilled, and still able to find a way to win because they believe in what that coach is selling. I don't think that's what's going to happen in Columbus. Thank you.